They're not scared because you failed. They're scared because you rose anyway. You weren't supposed to survive the rejection. You weren't supposed to bounce back from the betrayal. You weren't supposed to find peace, purpose, and power after they counted you out. But you did, and that's what terrifies them. You're not Houdini performing tricks. You're something much bigger. You're divine energy walking in human form. You're a system disruptor. You're a mirror that makes people confront their own shadows. They can't understand how you keep rising. They can't handle your silence, your strength, your truth. So they mock, they gossip, they distance. But deep down, they wish they had your courage. Because when a chosen one stops pretending, the entire illusion starts to crack. And that's why they're uncomfortable. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're finally doing what they never dared to do. Be real, be free, be unstoppable. If this message hits different, watch till the end. You're not crazy, you're not too much, you're activated, and the world is not ready for what you're about to become. Part 1. They feel threatened because you cannot be controlled. Let's get real. The world we live in is like a factory, built to produce sameness. Wake up, get dressed, clock in, smile on cue. Numb yourself just enough to survive the day. Then go to sleep and do it all again. It's a loop, a system, a blueprint for control. But not you. You showed up to this world different. From the very beginning, your rhythm was off, but in the best way possible. You didn't want what others wanted. You didn't fit the mold, no matter how hard you tried. You questioned things. Why do I feel out of place in a room full of people? Why do I notice energies no one talks about? Why does everything feel fake? And those questions, that curiosity, it made people nervous because you didn't just start questioning the system. You saw through it. You realized that what they called normal was actually programming. And the moment you stepped outside those invisible rules, you became a threat. You see, the system only works if everyone believes in it. If everyone marches in line, follows the script, and stays asleep. But you ripped the script in half. You started walking your own path. You began listening to a frequency that most people can't even hear. And now, you don't panic when the world tells you to. You don't chase after validation. You don't bend over backwards to fit in. Because you've tapped into something deeper. A stillness, a light, a truth that made you unshakable. And people can feel it. Even if they don't understand it, they sense it. That's why. Some act cold around you. Some gossip about you. Some try to copy your vibe, but it never quite lands. They can't explain it, but something about you feels out of their control. You don't just survive the world. You bend reality in a way that feels supernatural to them. And that's not because you're some illusionist like Houdini. Number, it's because you realized something powerful. There is no trap. The cage was always an illusion. The rules were always optional. The system only had power if you gave it permission. And you didn't. That's not rebellion. That's divine alignment. And when people witness someone walking in truth, they either bow in awe or bite in fear. Part 2. You carry frequencies that disrupt darkness. There's something electric about you, isn't there? You don't even have to say much. You walk into a space, and suddenly the energy shifts. Some people light up, others shrink away. The room gets quieter, heavier, more real. You think that's a coincidence? It's not. You carry frequencies that disrupt what's false. You weren't just born with a voice and a body. You came here with a signature vibration, a spiritual frequency that exposes illusions just by existing. You don't just speak truth, you radiate it. It's in your posture, it's in your eyes, it's in the way you look at someone and see everything they're not saying. And for people living in shadows, that kind of light, it feels like a threat. Because truth doesn't comfort lies. Truth burns lies. Truth breaks facades. Truth shakes systems that were built to control. So when people are pretending to be happy, pretending to be kind, pretending to be in control, and you show up, it rattles their false peace. They can't lie around you the way they lie to others. They can't manipulate the narrative. They can't wear their mask comfortably anymore, because you see too much. You feel the sadness behind their success. You notice the anger behind their silence. You sense the shame behind their arrogance. And that's what makes you dangerous, not because you're trying to hurt anyone, but because your presence exposes what they've worked so hard to hide. You trigger people without meaning to. You challenge people without raising your voice. You activate truth in people who didn't ask for it. And that makes them uncomfortable, so they'll label you. You're too intense. You're too sensitive. You think you're better than everyone. But no, you're not too anything. You're just awake. And they've never been in the presence of someone this awake. You're not Houdini performing an illusion. You're divine frequency walking around in human form. You don't escape darkness. You expose it. And that's why you cause a stir wherever you go. Because you weren't sent to be liked. You were sent to activate. Part 3. People can't handle your resurrections. Here's the part that really drives them crazy. You don't stay down. They tried to bury you. They rejected you. They lied about you. They thought the heartbreak, the loss, the betrayal would be the end of you. But chosen ones, we don't break, we resurrect. You've been through storms that would have sunk most people. You've walked through fire with nothing but faith. And every single time life tried to crush you, you rose. But not just as the same person. Number you came back wiser, stronger, sharper, more in tune with your mission. They don't understand it, because in their world, when people fall, they stay down. When life hits them hard, they run. When love wounds them, they shut down. But you don't just heal, you transcend. You take your wounds and turn them into wisdom. You take your pain and turn it into power. You alchemize every breakdown into a breakthrough. And that makes people nervous. Because it means their gossip didn't work. Their silence didn't break you. Their abandonment didn't erase you. You kept going. And now, they're watching you rise from the ashes again and again, like a phoenix. That kind of resilience isn't taught. It's earned. And it terrifies people who've never had to fight their way back from nothing. You didn't learn who you are from books or trends. You learned it in the dark, in the trenches, in the quiet hours when no one clapped for you, when it was just you and your spirit choosing not to give up. So when you walk into a room with that unshakable presence, it's not arrogance, it's evidence. You've been through hell and came out glowing. You don't wear scars, you wear royalty. And people who haven't met their own resurrection yet, they won't know what to do with someone like you. You're not cocky, you're battle-tested. You're not Houdini escaping a trap. You're divine energy reborn again and again and again. And that right there, they can't handle it. Part 4. Your presence reminds them of who they're not. Let's speak the truth they don't want to admit. You don't have to shout, you don't have to argue, you don't have to prove anything. Just your presence is enough to shake people. Not because you're loud, but because you're aligned. You walk in a room and remind them, without saying a word, of everything they've been ignoring in themselves. When you speak your truth without flinching, protect your energy like it's sacred, follow your soul's calling despite the noise. Choose purpose over popularity. It highlights every place they've chosen to stay small. You become a mirror. And what they see in that mirror isn't your light. It's their own compromise. They chose the comfortable path, the approved path, the what will people think path. But you chose the calling. They followed the crowd. You followed conviction. And now every time they see you, every win, every glow up, every bold move, it triggers something deep. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've done what they were too afraid to do. You became proof that another way is possible, that freedom is real, that you can walk away from the system and still rise, and that disrupts their illusion of, "I had no choice." That's why they distance themselves. That's why the energy gets weird. That's why the gossip starts. It's not about you, it's about what you represent. A wake-up call, a mirror, a reminder that soul-led living is real and accessible. So when they say things like, "You've changed. You're so different now. You think you're better." Smile, because they're right. You have changed. You've outgrown the old version of yourself. You've risen into your truth. You've chosen expansion over stagnation. And no, you will not shrink to make others comfortable. You will not dim just to be accepted. Because this is not the season for hiding. This is the season for the chosen ones to shine. Not to boast, but to activate. Because your light isn't just power, it's permission. And when you walk fully in it, you don't just inspire, you spark a revolution. So now you know. You were never meant to be like them. You weren't built for the matrix. You didn't come here to fit in, blend in, or be accepted by the system. You were sent here to disrupt it. You are a walking frequency, a living reminder that the soul is more powerful than the system. That truth will always burn brighter than comfort. And yes, that makes people uncomfortable. Yes, it makes them whisper. Yes, it makes them distance themselves. But guess what? You're still here, still rising, still glowing, still breaking every box they tried to put you in. Because no matter how many times they counted you out, you kept coming back stronger. You are not Houdini doing tricks for applause. You are divine, a force that refuses to be silenced. And now, it's time to stop apologizing for your light. Stop shrinking for their comfort. Stop hiding your gifts just to make the insecure feel safe. This is your season to walk boldly, to speak truth louder, to show up fully. Because the world doesn't need more copies, it needs you. If this message woke something up inside you, drop it in the comments. Tell us, what truth are you no longer willing to hide? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the chosen ones are rising and we're building a movement. And remember, they're not afraid of you because you're broken. They're afraid of you because you finally remembered who you are. Divine, unstoppable, untouchable. Now go remind them.